The CEO of SpaceX Starlink, Elon Musk, tells President Joe Biden to... Let's go check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today, we have a little bit of fireside. So good. That smokiness is awesome. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today is a technology day. We're going to be talking a little bit about Elon Musk, SpaceX Starlink, what's going on over there. I want to cover a few different topics today. I was reading an article over on Benzinga, and they were talking about what is going on with Joe Biden and him giving money, a specific amount. I think it was like $82 million for bridging the digital divide. Anyways, we'll get into that. But I also want to parlay that article into what one of you guys have sent to me. And this was really awesome. You did 3 months. David Brooks, I believe his name is, did 3 months of testing. And he shared that with me, and I'm going to share it with you guys so you can see how things have been changing for the last 3 months, November, December, and now January. And what I'm going to finalize this video with is my findings. I'm going to show you some live tests as of this morning so that you can see what kind of speeds I'm getting through a multitude of servers and give you my thoughts on it. And I hope that you can find a moment to add your thoughts down below after watching this video. But before I get into this article, I just want to say that if you haven't downloaded any of my ebooks, why the hell not? They're free. Go check them out over at JCristina.com/books. Also, if you enjoy the content even in the least, throw it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not. If you are, thank you very much. Click this little button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you will be notified of it immediately, if not sooner. Also, if you're looking for a VPN, check out PureVPN. You can go over to JCristina.com/VPN or use the promo code JCristina at checkout to get an additional 15% off. Also, if you want more Starlink content, you can take a look at my Starlink playlist. There's over 237, I don't know, a lot of videos on helpful how-tos, tips, tricks, what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, and the why behind it all. Also, if you want to just say thank you for all of my hard work, there's a little button down here. You can give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. Anyways, let's get into this Benzinga article. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk on Friday recommended Starlink for lower cost internet connectivity in North Carolina after President Joe Biden announced investments of $82 million to connect 16,000 households in the region to the internet. 16,000 people, 82 million. That's that $500 hammer that the government always buys, right? The article continues with a quote from Elon Musk on X that simply says this: "Just get Starlink, you dummies." He was responding to the Biden administration recent $82 million investment to bring high-speed internet to 16,000 homes across North Carolina. This would bring the cost connecting one home to the internet to over $5,000. In contrast, connecting a home with Starlink would cost only a total of $719 plus $120 per month, and the hardware, of course, is that $599. That's all, not $5,000. While Musk Starlink relies on a network of satellites in low Earth orbit to provide internet, Biden's investment was aimed to providing connectivity through fiber optic cable. Now, don't get this twisted. Fiber optic cable is definitely the long-term goal to connect everybody. Fiber is still the best. Do I see SpaceX Starlink as a stopgap between here and there? There being fiber? Kinda, sorta, but not really also. I think, yes, it is a stopgap, whereas we do want to get to fiber eventually, but I would personally, even if I had fiber here right now, I would have SpaceX Starlink as a redundant backup, because I think that you should have a terrestrial and a non-terrestrial type of internet if that's your business. If you are in a position that you need internet and it needs to be something that doesn't go down and you have redundancy. As I always say, one is none and two is one. You definitely want to have at least two connections to the internet if that's something that you need for your business or whatever you do on a daily basis. I think redundancy is very important. The article continues with a quote. I announced we're investing another $82 million to connect 16,000 additional homes and businesses to high-speed internet across North Carolina. This is just one piece of a much bigger story. Under my leadership, over 40,000 infrastructure projects have been announced across the nation. This is what Joe Biden said on a post on X. He didn't say it, but his team said it. Let's just put it that way. Last month, the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, reiterated its decision to deny SpaceX Starlink $885.5 million in rural broadband subsidies. A move criticized by Musk as, quote, extremely unethical and politically partisan. And I'll tell you why that is accurate in just a second. Musk opined that Starlink is the sole company that can solve rural broadband at scale, and the subsidy must be resolved and returned to the taxpayer instead of being given to other players who cannot solve the rural connectivity issue. He is 100% correct here, and the article continues and kind of points it out. I'll get a little bit deeper in it in just a second. Republican FCC Commissioner Brandon Carr also dissented against the decision, alleging that the FCC had added itself to the growing list of administrative agencies taking action against Musk businesses following the billionaire's acquisition of Twitter on instruction of President Biden. Carr termed the decision regulatory harassment and claimed that the decision was based on previously non-existing standards. Now, this is 100% correct. I did an entire piece on this. In my previous video, I said this. In a 3-1 vote down party lines, the FCC decided to reaffirm its denial of SpaceX Starlink, SpaceX's LEO satellite internet service, of the $886 million subsidy. The subsidy would have come through the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund program, which aimed to bring high-speed internet to under or unserved Americans. If you don't know, that's that whole idea of bridging the digital divide that I've been talking about on this channel forever. Bridging the digital divide is taking the have-nots and moving them into the have column. Now, the have-nots meaning the have-nots of high-speed internet access. So this is something that is major. This is a big thing. It hits me at home being in a rural type of environment. That's one of the reasons why I started using SpaceX Starlink 27 months ago. I also pointed out that the FCC requires a bid winner of the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund program to provide at least 100 megabits download and 20 megabits upload speed to the intended location by 2025. 2025. Now, what ended up happening here, according to Carr, as one of the commissioners on that board of 5 on the FCC that decides the fate of anyone that's getting any type of money from them, is that they voted down party lines. So there is 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. The Republicans said, give him the money. The 3 Democrats said, don't give him the money. Of course, the 3 would be the majority and they would win, and then Elon wouldn't get the money. That's subsidy. Now, I didn't know this, but I told you guys in the last video that the way it works is the FCC and a lot of these 3-letter organizations, the voting body of these organizations change based on who is the president. So if you have a Democrat president, you'll end up with a 3-2 voting body. Now, if you have a Republican, that's the president, now the FCC would be a 3-2 also, but it would be 3 Republican and 2 Democrats. I think that is the dumbest shit ever. This is supposed to be a body that's for the people, not for a political party. You don't change the number of people based on whoever is in office? I mean, that's just ridiculous. That just shows how absolutely biased these organizations are. What kind of shit is that? I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. I think anyone that can rub two brain cells together would say, yeah, that's wrong. Okay? That is just stupid in its face. And that's what's going on here. I ended up making a list. DOJ, the NLRB, the FCC, the FTC, the FAA, as well as the FWS, Fish and Wildlife Service. I mean, all these people have been going after him, plus a lot more. It is absolutely absurd. Now, according to Carr, and what he stated in his dissent, is that he blames President Biden for giving the green light for all of these agencies to go after Elon Musk. This is what the president had said when Elon purchased Twitter, now X. He said this, quote, "I think that Elon Musk corporations and or technical relationships with other countries is worthy of being looked at. Whether or not he is doing anything inappropriate, I'm just suggesting it is worth being looked at." After that statement, it was just open season on Elon Musk and all of his projects and all of his companies. So I think that if anyone looks at it, they would say, yes, this is definitely some type of regulatory harassment, just like Carr said. And we see this. It's just absolutely blatant just on how the voting goes. And I just absolutely love how Elon Musk just replies to the president with 3 words, just get Starlink. That's it. Just get Starlink. $82 million to connect 16,000 people. Are you shitting me? What kind of bullshit is that? I mean, 16,000 people. I mean, when I started this, I was at like 113,000, right around there. That's how many people were on board when it was just coming out of beta. And now, 27 months later, there's 2.4 million. How many people do you think you could give SpaceX Starlink to for $82 million? Well, just about every person that was on board when I first started 27 months ago. If you do the math, 82 million divided by, like, let's say that 719 figure that they came up with, you end up with about 114,000 people. Not 16,000, 114,000. I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyways, I don't want to finalize this video on a bad note. So like I said before, a friend of the show, David Brooks, sent in some images, some captures of data that he was able to acquire over the last 3 months. So I want to show this to you because I think it is very important and it shows you where things have gone. So if we start out with the first one, this is what November looks like. And you can see there is a minimum, a maximum, and a mean down the center. Now, the mean is always the most important thing because maximums is going to happen and these minimums are going to happen also. Maybe you have a raining day and now all of a sudden you're losing connection, or maybe there's a server down or who knows what. So the mean, or that average, is really important, this blue line. So it started out, what, about 120, let's call it. It dipped down to maybe 110, back up to maybe 130, and it did hit right around November 115 megabits down. If we come over here to December, we can see it's a little bit choppy, going from about 155 down to 120, back to 150, so on and so forth. And then by December, mid-December, we're hitting right around 175, which is kind of nice. Now, if we move over to January, we can see things have changed. Now, what has changed here is that we're now less choppy. We started out at about 120 or so, maybe 130, then back down to 110. But then look what happens after January. It's a slow, gradual increase back up to that 150 range. But look at these maximums. We're coming in here at about 270 and we hit right around, let's say 320, 325, dip back down to about 270, and then back up to 300 megabits down. Those are fast speeds. Really fast speeds. That is exciting to me. So what I ended up doing is I did a test for you guys, as I always promise. And on a lot of these videos, I'll do a video specifically on testing. Obviously, I'm just sticking this at the end so that you can see it because I think that it's very important. Just some guy in a rural environment, what are my speeds as of today? And then I'll tell you how these speeds have been changing. So I went over to Ookla, we did speedtest.net, and the first test we ended up using a server out of Atlanta, Georgia, which is 158 megabits down and 17 up. Then I redid it. It picked up a server Then I redid it, and this time it used Spark Lite. That was 287 megabits down and 12 megabits up. And then we went to the next server, which 327 by 17. The follow-up server with 265 by 23. And then finally, we see Comcast here at 150 by 21. Now, there's a couple of things that are very interesting to me here. Now, remember that the FCC said that the ISP that would win this bid, all right, would have to show a download speed of 100 and an upload speed of 20 megabits up by 2025. That's what they said. That was the rules at the time. And Elon Musk, SpaceX Starlink, won that 800 and let's call it $86 million. But then they reneged on it and said, nah, we don't believe that he's going to be able to do it. But now look at these numbers. Once again, this is just some guy in the rural area of Florida. We can see that 2 out of the 5 tests were over the 20 megabits that is required by the FCC. But we also see that 2 other were at that 17 megabits up. So we're only off by about, let's say, 3 megabits. Only 1 out of the 5 was below that at 12 megabits up. But if we look at download, every single one of the tests broke the 100 mandated number, over 100 megabits. The slowest one was about 150 megabits, once again, breaking that number. And then 3 out of the 5 not only broke the number, but it broke it with a doubling of the figure. One of them was sitting at 287 megabits down. The other one was 265 and another one was 237. Once again, doubling it. One of them almost tripled it, right? With the 287. That is craziness when it comes to download. I do believe that SpaceX Starlink needs to work on their upload. But what I am seeing here is they are. Not only are the upload speeds getting better, whereas in the past, a couple of months ago, I was getting anywhere from 8 to about 12 megabits consistently on a mean average on the upload. Now we're seeing an average well in excess of that. We have the lowest, which was 12 megabits up. Then we have 2 at 17 megabits up. And then we have 2 more that were over that 20 megabit threshold. One at 21 and the other one at 23 megabits up. So that is fantastic. So for the FCC to be able to say that they believe that SpaceX Starlink is not going to be able to fulfill 100 megabits down and 20 megabits up is absolutely ludicrousy. It is absolute partisan bullshit. That's just my personal opinion. And one last thing that I think is so important, and I spoke about that in a previous video, and that is latency and jitter. And both the latency and jitter has been getting better over the last couple of months. Now, I was originally getting anywhere from about 40 to 50 milliseconds, my ping or my latency. Right now, matter of fact, I have a ping test going on in the background, and I'm seeing 23 milliseconds, 28, 33, 26, 27, 21. That is amazing. So even if you average that out, we're sitting at about, let's say 30 milliseconds, maybe 29 milliseconds latency. And the jitter has been getting better also. If you don't know what jitter is, watch my last video. It is important. It is that 10 million pound elephant that's in the room that no one talks about. I personally believe that SpaceX Starlink is not only getting better, it is getting better by leaps and bounds. Why is it happening? It is happening because of the SpaceX Starlink version 2 mini satellites that are in orbit. There's 800, maybe 1,000 now that are online, that are operational. Those things are producing 4x the capacity of the previous version, the 1.0s and the 1.5s. That is great. But remember, once Starship, you can see the Starship back here. I have a little model of it. Anyways, once that Starship actually gets up into orbit, doesn't blow up, and starts inserting like a Pez dispenser, all of these new, let's call them 2.0 maxis, or maybe they'll call them 3.0s at that point, which are 4x the capacity on that, it is going to be even better. The latency, as you can see, has already come down, as well as jitter, and you're going to see the speeds not only increase, but what's more important, they're going to become more stable. Just like we saw in the very last graph, the speeds are becoming more stable. It is an upward trend that is a nice, gentle trend and not a choppy one. All right, they are slowly getting better and better over time. So once again, there is no way on this earth that the FCC, in good faith, can say that they believe that SpaceX Starlink is not going to be able to make 100 megabits down by 20 megabits up by 2025. My personal opinion. What do you think? What do you think about Joe Biden giving that $82 million to get 16,000 people online, whereas the same money would get 114,000 people online? Is it stupidity? Or is it something more? What do you think? Down below, let's have this discussion. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to comment down below. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the very many years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. Check out my merch, check out my tees, pick something up and support my family. That would be awesome. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for the end of the vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, and we'll see you soon. Love you all.